Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Racing with Ryan podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Stevens. We are back in the studio. We are back at it like normal. Appreciate your patience over the last couple of weeks, but hopefully you got caught up a couple of weeks ago with the quick little show we did. Got a full show for you here today, just like normal. And you know what? It feels good to be going into a show with some good positive momentum. I mean, Saturday's family fun night at New Smyrna went from looking like a nothing burger to a night at Speedweeks in the snap of a finger. So, first and foremost, thank you to everybody that came out to support it. Thank you to the fans, the racers, our crew at the Speedway. Obviously, this time of year, Mother Nature, you just never know what she's going to do. She threatened us, and it looked like, we might not get the show in for a little bit. There was rumblings of not being able to do it. But we stuck it out. We got it in, and then the fans showed up. And I really gotta give kudos to the racetrack, at least for one thing this year, sticking things out when they don't look so good at 3-4 o'clock. We've had quite a few instances where it's rained, we've dried the track, we've got the show in. Now we've had we've rained out halfway through the features. We didn't get the orange blossom in. I think that's the only hiccup so far, really. Based on the weather that we've had. I think, most of the calls to cancel early have been good calls. And it's just been a weird year weather-wise. But, man, when we get the shows in, we have a good time. So I think everybody had a good time. I'll tell you, the atmosphere felt amazing. The crowd was into it. They were cheering. We were giving away money. People were dancing. People were on each other's shoulders. People were into the action on the track. I'd say the only thing that I wish could have been better was a handful of more cars per division. I think that's the one thing right now that is struggling is just the consistency of car counts. Certain classes have been down much of the season, but I think we still got a good show out of it nonetheless. So, on today's episode of the podcast, we are going to recap all the action from New Smyrna Speedway. Another successful family fun night in the books. Before we get into that, I got to thank our sponsors. Our anchor sponsor this year, Paramount Medical Billing. Thank you guys for your support of the show. Hopefully we see that 602 back out on the track here this weekend with Hank Baker Jr. I also thank F&F Racing, who will be here with the Pro Late model this coming Saturday night as the Pro Lates hit the track once again. Also, big thank you to the Splish and Splash swim program. That's been a very strong program this year. So if you guys need swim lessons, just because the summer's winding down doesn't mean you can't get in. If anyone needs swim lessons, please let me know. I'll get you in touch with Tiffany, and she will let you know how her schedule is open. Now that the kids are back in school, it's a little bit different, but hey, we can still fit you in. So big thank you to them for supporting the show and everything we do. Also, thank you to Doug Samian, Duo Lawn and Tree. Everything Doug does to support racers. We miss having him on track right now, but hopefully he'll be back in the future. And we thank Ken Copley as well. We definitely miss his presence out there, but we thank him for his support of the show nonetheless. So, let's get into the recap. Just to kind of if you want to know what to expect on today's show, we're going to recap New Smyrna. We're going to talk Cup Series at Iowa. We're going to do a quick rendition of the 16. We're going to check fantasy, and we're going to let you get out of here. Try to keep this thing concise, but give you everything that you expect. So, Pro Trucks. 11 trucks. Not bad, but man, just, we're missing some guys. The Martins not being here this year, we felt that. That's 2 trucks down every week. Let's see, Kuhn wasn't here in the 2. JT Chastain wasn't here in the 31. That's just a couple right off the bat that I can think of. But it was a good competitive race, and things got interesting, battling for the lead between Grayson Greaves and, who was it? Nick Provost, the point leaders. They got together coming out of turn number 2, and it looked to me like they just were fighting for the same piece of real estate, and they were battling hard. I feel like in the drivers' minds that whoever was going to come out of that battle with the lead was then going to have to hold off George Gorham Jr. So they both know that they needed to go, and then they came together on the back straightaway. Both cars would go to the back, and that would hand the lead to George Gorham Jr. who would then hold off George Gorham III over 2 restarts to pick up the win. A bit of controversy in between the Greaves and Provost wreck. Nolan Mesa ended up in the turn 1 and 2 wall. He and Dalton Smith had some contact, and Nolan Mesa ended up with a flat tire, then ended up in the wall, and he was none too happy. I believe there were some hand gestures that went down, and he let Dalton Smith have his displeasure. And then I saw the next day, a post that Nolan put out on Facebook, kind of fanning the flames, not calling anybody out specifically, but it's kind of like, it was more like the post was like, if you know, you know, just fanning the flames. And I've learned over the last couple of years, and I've been guilty of this myself, fanning the flames does nothing but make the fire get worse and then burn you down. So I reached out to him, and I don't think he liked my response too much. I tried to frame it in a positive light. But the other thing, there's a lot more to the story than I think some know, because as you know, I'm an admin on the New Smyrna Facebook page. So I see the messages that come in, and we got a message from a competitor, and I'm not gonna dox these guys because it was sent as a PM, but there were some things that were said between people that probably shouldn't have been said, and some things to watch out for the next race. And basically, if things happen during the next race, folks are probably going to get in trouble. That's all I'm going to say on the topic. If you want more, you can watch Speedway video, and you can make your own assessment of the contact and the crashes. You can point your own fingers, or you can go watch some of the media that's come out. I know Dalton Smith put out a nice recap video that you may want to go watch if you're still on the fence about which side you want to be on, if you want to take sides. What would a short track Saturday night be without a little bit of drama, right? But at the end of the day, it would be George Gorham Jr. with the win over his son, George Gorham III. So 1-2 finish for the Gorham family, and then Beckham Monopoly in third with another solid run. Creeping back into championship contention is Beckham Monopoly. We're going to check on the championship battle here in a moment. Greaves finished 4th, and Provost finished 6th, so it's still going to be tight. Dalton Smith, man, that team, they had it rolling the right way. They finished in the top 5. Nick Provost 6th, Ross Francisco 7th, Chuck Hires 8th, 9th was Brooke Ollie, Nolan Mesa 10th, and Tyler Prenesti was out early in the backup truck for the Provost family, but he finished 11th. So that was our finishing order for the Ashley Holmes Jacks Pro Trucks. A spicy race for sure. Super Stocks were also in action. We had 8 of them. We had 8 of them on property. 7 would start, unfortunately. One of the major contenders on the day, Blake Clouser, would be out after 1 lap of practice. He broke the rear end. I chatted with him in the grandstands a little bit in between races. All was not lost on his night, as we'll talk about here in a little bit. But Blake Clouser broke a rear end in practice, wouldn't start. That gave us 7 cars. Good battle between Justin Spears and Bobby Holly, but Bobby Holly would finally get the best of the Spears gang and go to victory lane. And Justin Spears was unfortunately disqualified from a second-place effort, which actually will tighten the point standings again. I think Bobby Holly was going to lead there with a 2 or 3 point lead. It might just be 1 point. They might be tied. I got to go check the points here. After we do the recap, we will load up the points, and we'll give you an update on all the point standings going into this weekend. But a clean and green, but a good super stock race. These guys, man, if they could get 3 or 4 more guys on a consistent basis, the division would be fine. Bobby Holly, your winner. Tyler Prenesti, 2nd. George Spears came home in 3rd. 4th was Gage Spears. Gage ran well all day long. And then Mike Amato would round out the top 5. Dan Webb, the pole sitter, would finish 6th. Blake Clouser, DNS, and Justin Spears with the DQ. I think I read that he was light through the scales, and you'll have to excuse my intermittent coughing here. Started to feel a little something towards the end of last week, and thought I was fine. And then Saturday night, I started losing my voice, and Sunday at quarter midgets, man, the sun really zapped me. Wasn't feeling 100%. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep in between New Smyrna, the big track and the small track, and then I started losing my voice on Saturday night, as you could probably tell if you were there. So I had a rough Sunday, but definitely coming through on the positive end of things here midweek during recording here. So do apologize for the intermittent voice clearing there that you may hear. On to the Bushman Steel Buildings Bomber A Division. good race. We almost got a first-time winner. But the Bomber A group right now, it's a good group of guys. We're getting 8 to 12 to 15 of these things on a good night. The division has great potential. It's just stuck right now in this battle over the breakout rule. And while the rule has progressed and it's not as bad, quote unquote, bad as it was when it first came out, it's still a challenge for these guys. And, on one hand, I think there are some that would come back if we opened it up. And then on the other, I think it would discourage others. It's tough. I would like to see Tech get back involved with the class and make it just competitive as a normal racing division like any other four-cylinder class. The breakout's fun. For me, I think it'd be fun if we just had like a kind of like a bracket race kind of event. And let that be where we race the clock. I think that would be fun. Kind of like a run what you brung. Name the type of car that can run and say bring it. Kind of like we're doing on Saturday for the unofficial Daytona preview thing. It's kind of run what you brung, come have some fun situation. I'd like to see that, but bracket style, and kind of get the Bombers back to a true racing class. While the breakout rule keeps, 5 or 6 guys under a blanket and it's fun, it's if you're a race fan, you've watched long enough, you can just tell it's artificial. But I'm still enjoying it, and they're fun races to call. And at the end of the day, my job is to go up there and call the race, and it's not boring to call. I might be able to see through the veil, but obviously, I know what's going on. They're racing the clock. I know how it works. But it is fun to call. So, I just weighed all the pros and cons and told you what I like and what I don't like about it, and would like to see more middle ground. There, I laid out what I think without being negative on the table. But it would be Preston Obremski who would get the win over a hard-charging Michael Austin, who had a miserable heat race. Excuse me. Mike Austin came out, ran a lap, didn't finish, but almost won the main event. And I just want to make sure. Okay, they have Mike Austin listed in the heat race. I just want to make sure for his points. I will audit the points. There are a couple things that I think need to be looked at. I just need some time. Now that school started, time is more on my side. This summer was, I had to play dad a lot this summer, and it was a great summer. But now I'll have a little bit more time to look at the things a little closely. But back to the finishing order. Preston Obremski, your winner. Michael Austin, second. Stephen Davila driving the 99 to a good finish in third. Fourth was Eddie Evans. Stephen Brown was fifth. Sixth was Larry Masters. Eddie Evans Jr. was seventh. And Caleb Jones had a tough day. He said they had problems in practice. And with the quick turnaround with practice, which we tried a couple of different events with a different practice schedule, it's reverted back. So sorry to those that didn't work out for. Caleb Jones in eighth, and then we had Gage Spears not start or Chris Montgomery not start in the 34 because it was given to Eddie Evans Jr. as a backup car because Eddie had a blown motor in the heat race that kind of set a wild chain of events. It was just kind of a wild day for the Bombers. A lot of guys in the heat race did not finish, but most of them came back out for the feature. The Bomber race was definitely interesting. Rolling down to the Bomber Bs. This division, man, I'm telling you, the StevensmithIncorporated.com Bomber Bs, they've been a solid division, but I can't figure them out. 1 week I'll give them, billing at the top of the card, and they bring only a handful of cars. And then the next week they're buried towards the back because I move it around. The trucks, part of their sponsorship deal is that they are the first race. If there's a late model race or a 60-lapper, they're, second on the bill. But that's part of their sponsorship package. That's part of what they're paying for. But I move things around, and I feel like there's been some classes lately where they start showing up and earn a top bill, and then they don't show up. Like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not picking on these guys. I love these guys. The 602s, a lot of times they ask me if they can be near the top, and normally I grant them that because that's the least I can do for them. But I gave them the first bill at the prior Family Fun Night, and they brought 5 cars. And then they went to Auburndale and had 7 or 8, and they all were talking about how great it was and this and that, and, then they want first bill again. And I couldn't do it because I have 2 60-lappers coming up this weekend. So, A, I just couldn't do it. And B, I got to move things around. So the Bomber Bees are a division now I kind of don't know what to do with, because this week there was 8. And I thought, okay, the rain, that class, they don't practice a whole lot anyway, so we'll probably get 10 or 12 before the green flag, but only 8 showed up. And it was a little disappointing because it's been a great class this year. But it's like 1 week we'll have 20, and the next we have 8. And I just can't figure them out. But it is what it is. And this race was pretty straightforward. I don't think there was any caution flags. And there was a pretty good battle up front. Early, Wes Randling, Larry Masters, they looked like they were going to have something, but Blake Clouser would not be denied. He would drive one of the 63 cars to another victory. So, again, making up for his shortcomings in the Superstock race, Blake Clouser, your winner in the Bomber Bees this week over Larry Masters, who's been very close this year in the 77. He's getting better. And then Tim Nicholas, the point leader, with a solid third-place round. That's what he's doing. He's podiuming himself on the way to the championship. I think you know what I was trying to say there. I couldn't get it out properly, but you know what I mean. Kenny Roth with a solid run. He's had a good year, running mostly family fun nights. He'll be back in September for the next one. He was 4th. 5th was Randy Straley. Spencer Dean was 6th. Cheyenne Woodman, the leading rookie, was 7th, and Wes Railing, mechanical problems. Feast or famine for Wes. It's like win or finish last. So kind of a short field, but it was a good enough race for the Bomber Bees, who will then probably find themselves lower on the card for the next family fun night, and they'll have like 20 cars. I can't figure them out. Prove to me, Bomber Bees, that you can bring me 15 cars for the next race, and we'll talk about not burying you on the schedule. And then finally, we had the Florida Southern Ground Pounders. This is pretty typical for the Ground Pounders in the summer. These gentlemen are getting up there in age. It's an on average, older man's class. And I mean that with all due respect. They're legends of the sport themselves. And during the summer, man, it's hot. These guys are just trying to have fun. So you see some guys lay out, and especially with the rain threatening, some of these guys travel quite a ways. So 9 cars, but it was still a good race. And Toby Smith would get the overall victory. And listen, they don't give out overall wins anymore, but he was the first car to cross the checkered flag. And he would win for the modifieds. Art Koonsman would win the stock cars. In the Possum, it was good to see the Possum back there, out there on the racetrack. And then Scott Cutter would actually lead for a while, and almost for a few minutes there, it looked like maybe Scott was going to have something. He faded to 4th at the checkers, 2nd overall in class. And it would be Colin Smith who made one of the coolest passes of the night, went to the outside past Laurie Bonaparte and Frank Pelkey to win the Sportsman division after crossing the line in the 6th position overall. So fun race, lot to watch there. The modifieds were fast. Art was fast. Eric Sowers running fast. It was a fun night. Good competitive races in all 3 of the classes that make up the Florida Southern Ground Pounders. So good night for Toby Smith. He kind of swept the heat and the feature. And, we're not done yet. That's right. The Mod Minis. The Mod Minis were in action. Another good field. 9 cars, 10 drivers. Got to meet Lee Davis, because I don't know if you were there when we were doing the lineup for the Mod Mini race. I was like, man, there's another number 8 car. I don't know who the heck Lee Davis is, and I didn't see another number 8, but Jamie Dixon, who drove the 8 car in the heat, turned over the steering wheel to Lee Davis, the father of Brandon Davis, who just got to know a couple of weeks ago after the races. And luckily, I got to interview Lee after he got a podium finish, and then chit-chatted with he and Brandon as after the night was over, after I was walking down from the tower. And they're both coming from Lakeland, kind of getting the bug, enjoying themselves here this year. It hasn't been they've run well. There's been some struggles, some uphill battles, but for Lee and Brandon to finish 2nd and 3rd, I mean, it was a pretty cool situation. This race got kind of crazy, and I will admit, I thought there were still laps to go. The field had taken the white flag, and then there was a spin by Cody Tabor, which then Ben Hoff went up the racetrack, collected the outside wall, came down and collected Clint Foley, and that would actually end the race. And Jerry Simons had the win in hand anyway, but I thought we were going to have a restart between Simons and Lee Davis. And the way Lee was driving that 8 car was pretty impressive. I was looking forward to perhaps a close battle to the finish, but excuse me, we did not get that. So Simons wins it as the 71 Volpius car returns. Lee Davis returns, grabs the second place finish. Brandon Davis is third. Clint Foley in fourth after the crash. Still got fourth, though. Ernie went in fifth. Brad Blanton, sixth. We'll see how the points shake out here. Mark Brote didn't run the heat race, so that's going to muck things up a little bit. Probably give Brad Blanton the edge. Ben Hoff, seventh. Cody Tabor and Mark Brote. 9 cars. I mean, the Mod Minis, kudos to Recon. Kudos to Mark Brote and company for rallying this division. They were a division that was off the schedule and now is a staple of family fun night and not one that we're dreading anymore as fans, as analysts or any of that. And not to say that we dread anything, any of the guys. It was just, 3-car mod mini race. Oh, please. But 9, they had 10 the week before. They got 10 this week, or 10 drivers, 9 cars started. We'll take it. It's impressive, and it's been fun. The Mod Minis have been fun so far in 2026. The spectator racing was okay. I can't remember who won it. Gentleman out there for the first time in an Audi. I liked his quote in Victory Lane because I was like, "Hey, we got $500 to win coming here at the end of August." And he's like, "You just want to give me that money now?" I thought that was great. So fun night, like I said, Speedweeks atmosphere with the big crowd. However, more fun than Speedweeks because it wasn't, the 6th night of being there. Everybody's tired. Everybody's fed up with dealing with this and dealing with that. It was just that is how Saturday night at the races should be. A nice, solid, energetic crowd. Racers who are appreciative of said crowd. I love how the drivers got out, even towards the end of the night as things started to thin out. The later divisions would still get out and thank the crowd because they got to see it, and that's what we need. We need good crowd support. We could use some more driver support, and I get the challenges. But just know that I'm very appreciative of the night we had. I needed a night like that. The track needed a night like that. I can tell you there are several of us who really give it their all when we're at that racetrack. And it's not for a lot. It's not for fame. It's not for fortune. It's for the love of the sport. And we have some people there right now that maybe aren't ingrained in the sport like you and I, but they are giving it their all. And we need that kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, the people that are in position to do a lot with a little are doing everything they can to try to keep the place, to keep it out there, to keep it going, to keep the atmosphere going. There's just some other things that can be worked on, and unfortunately, I don't have the answers. I don't have the power in that realm to make the changes that need to be changed. And all I'm going to do is keep on keeping on with what I can do and have fun with it. So this weekend we do have the Pro Late Model Heatwave 60 and the E-Mod Heatwave 60. So double 60s plus the Sportsman. We have the Bomber A's and the 602 modifieds on the schedule. So a solid 5-race schedule, 260 lappers, almost 200 laps of racing. Feature racing, that is, coming up this Saturday night. Decent number of Pro Late models already pre-registered. I think I've got 8 that I know of as of this recording. Allie Owens is coming back. So Brad May, of course, will be there. Palmer Hag, Stephen Reddit. Cole Anderson registered again, so Cole's going to be there. Colin Allman is registered, so a couple of surprises. I think we get at the least 10. I think we'll have double-digit Pro Late models. I'd love to see 15, but I think somewhere between 8 and 12 realistically, and optimistically up to 15. So, and then the E-Mods, I think we'll have 10 plus. So it should be a good turnout this week and fun, a fun night at the races. So just as long as the weather cooperates. Look forward to another good night on the high banks. With that, let me pivot back over here to the new Smyrna webpage. I'm going to quickly grab the point standings, which means I got to scroll all the way up here. And we'll go to driver info, points. Wait for my dinosaur computer to load. There we go. All right, looking at the divisions that raced here this weekend with updates. Ashley Holmes Jack's Pro Trucks. Nick Provost now up by 7 on Grayson Greaves, and the big winner this weekend was Becca Monopoly, who's now just minus 11 with several races to go on the schedule. So it's a 3-horse race for the Ashley Holmes Jack's Pro Truck Championship. Brooke Ollie leading Rookie of the Year as we run right now. Let's see. Super Stocks. Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to see. So It was going to be a 3-point lead for Bobby Hawley, but with the disqualification, it is now Bobby Hawley by just 1 point over Tyler Prenesti. George Spears only 8 back. So the fields have been smaller, which has kept this tight. But yeah, Hawley, Prenesti, and Spears still alive for the championship in the Super Stocks. We'll see how that plays out. Let's see. Bomber A's, Stephen Brown with a comfortable 25-point lead on Eddie Evans, 29 points over Michael Austin. Leading rookie right now is Eddie Evans Jr., 4th in points, and Steven Davila rounding out your top 5. Preston Obremski, though, knocking on the door. He hasn't run all the races, but as a rookie, he is just a couple of spots behind Eddie Evans Jr., so that could be interesting to watch. Let's see. Bomber Bees, Tim Nicholas, comfortable 72-point lead now over Randy Straley. Zach Curtis, missing the last event, is now 108 points back. Larry Masters, 4th, 124. And Skinny Roth rounding out the top 5, 146 points back. Leading rookie there is Cheyenne Woodman as they run right now. Ground Pounders, looking at the divisions, it is Art Koonsman leading the stock cars in the 9. Toby Smith leads the modifieds. And let's see, Sportsman is actually Scott Phobes, who's leading the points there. Mod Minis, let's check this out. After, Mark Brote not running the heat race really set him back. He went from point leader to 4th, but it is now Brad Blanton who leads the points by 22 over rookie Ben Hoff, who got involved in that crash. Ernie Winton, Mark Brote, and Clint Foley, your top 5 there. So, let's pivot now to NASCAR Cup Series at Iowa, which I watched Sunday night and Sunday morning because after quarter midgets, I was beat, but it was also the day before school. My daughter started kindergarten, and we did a last-minute let's go shopping. We had to get some clothes and a few last-minute items for the kids, and I wanted to go. So it wasn't until after I put all the kids to bed that I decided to turn the race on, and I was beat. And the girlfriend and I stayed up for a little bit. We chit-chatted, watched the race, got about halfway through. She fell asleep, then I fell asleep, and then thankfully I didn't wake up and have it spoiled. I had the remote right in my hand, so I was very quick to wake up, realize, I fell asleep, race is probably over, turned it off, restarted it the next morning, caught up, and finished it. I'm a couple races behind here. Not a bad, and I'll be quick on this side of things. I know this is not what everybody comes to listen to. Not a bad race, but only 9 lead changes. It was hard to pass. I didn't hate the race. I didn't love the race. Things got interesting early. Tyler Reddick hit the wall on lap 3. Just got loose in turn 1, took out Eric Jones. They were out early. Another big significant incident in the middle of the race when Kyle Larson got shuffled out of the groove and then came off turn 4 wide, ended up in the fence with Alex Bowman. So a couple of Toyotas took each other out, then a couple of the Chevys took each other out, and they would finish 36th, 35th, 34th, and 33rd. And that would be the crux of most of the on-track action right there. As the entire last stage, this has happened a lot. The entire last stage went clean and green. We've had several races. I remember Michigan was chaotic early, and then it was clean and green towards the end. And Wilkesboro was clean and green after the caution that happened in the middle of the pit stop. So we've seen this a lot. It's kind of becoming a trend. The first half of the race, if the first half of the race has a lot of action, the second half calms down. If the first part of the race is boring, the end is usually pretty good. That's kind of how the NASCAR races have kind of gone, and this one was kind of like that too. Excuse me. This race boiled down to a battle in the pits. We had Ty Gibbs take 2 tires, or was it no tires? Anyways, Ty Gibbs on pit road, used some tire strategy, get out front, was able to hold off Christopher Bell to pick up his second win of the season. Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell would be your stage winners. And then, of course, like I said, Ty Gibbs gets his second win of the season. Christopher Bell second. Ryan Blaney, who had a great car, led the most laps on the day, would finish 3rd. Josh Berry finished 4th. I picked him in 36 for 36. Originally, I had Ryan Preece, but Preece didn't get through inspection, didn't get to qualify. I was worried about his track position, so I looked at another short track guy, and I'm like, when the heck else? I had Berry for New Hampshire, so I switched Berry and Preece. And Barry got me a 4th place finish. I'll take it. Denny Hamlin started in the back, but as he's been doing all year, just solid. He came from 29th to finish 5th. Chase Briscoe was 6th. Ross Chastain had a good day. Actually is now in the fringe of making the chase with a couple races to go. But a solid 7th place run, got stage points, led 40 laps. Good day for Chastain. I know he's just getting my hopes up here, but we'll take it. AJ Allmendinger, another good day in 8th. 9th was William Byron. 10th was Austin Dillon. Some notables here. Connor Zilic had a good day. Got stage points, finished just outside the top 10 and 11th. Bubba Wallace, he led a couple laps, had a speeding penalty that set him back for the rest of the race, able to come back up for 12th. But mistakes keep killing that team. Joey Logano's hot streak kind of cools down. He was 14th. Chase Elliott was 15th. Priest, I talked about him. He was 20th. Daniel Suarez, 23rd. Brad Keselowski qualified 4th, but wrecked on his second lap and finished 27th in the back. Not in the backup car, but the fixed car. Just never had the track position. So, tough day for Roush Fenway. Shane Van Gisbergen also went for a spin. Finished back in 30th. This was not the run that he needed, but probably one of those tracks where if you were going to pick one for him to struggle, this would probably be it. Carson Hocevar had drivetrain issues. He would finish 31st. And, of course, Larson was 33rd. Bowman 34th, Jones 35th, and Reddick 36th. So Reddick's bid for the regular season championship took another huge hit, and Denny Hamlin has it well in control. So with that said, by the way, we're heading to Richmond here this weekend, which should be interesting. Richmond's been fun with the tires. The tire strategy makes it a lot of fun. So while I don't think we're going to see that much action as far as wrecks and people getting mad at each other, we're going to see a lot of strategy, and it should be fun to follow on Saturday night. Well, for me, Sunday afternoon when I watch them. Looking at the point standings, I think I need to update this. I thought I already did, but apparently I did not. I'm a couple weeks behind on this. Come on, NASCAR.com. Here we go. It's loading. I know Denny Hamlin is your point leader, and his gap now is significant. 103 points over the new second-place point man, Ty Gibbs. What a year for Ty Gibbs, second in points. Ryan Blaney's third, Tyler Reddick down to fourth, but they are locked in to the chase at this point. Chase Briscoe up 2 spots. How about Briscoe up to 5th? This was a driver 8-9 weeks ago we were talking about not even being in maybe even the top 10 or having a shot at the championship, and now he's 5th. I'm telling you, momentum going into the chase is going to tell us a lot about who's going to have a shot. The drivers trending upwards right now are Gibbs, Hamlin, Blaney. Drivers trending downward, Reddick. Bell's another one of those. Briscoe's, they're heading upwards. Elliott, though, Larson, all of Hendrick Motorsports, they're trending downward. The next 3 weeks, I think, are going to tell us a lot as far as momentum and seeding going into that first, revamped chase. So a lot to watch over the next couple of weeks. Briscoe 5th, Christopher Bell up 4 spots, our biggest gainer this week, up to 6th with another second-place run. If he can get a win, Bell could vault into the top 5. Chase Elliott, 7th, down 1 spot. Carson Hocevar, big loser, down 3 spots with that sub-30th place finish. He's down to 8th. Chris Buescher remains 9th. And here's another surprise. Kyle Larson, 10th in points. Just another dismal day for the 5. Qualified outside pole. Just, it's every time you think that maybe, just maybe, Larson's going to turn it around, he has another dismal day. It's very tight from 10th to 6th, so he can go up, he can go down. Richmond, New Hampshire coming up. Good tracks for him. Daytona is, it's a wild card. William Byron up 1 spot to 11th as Daniel Suarez slips 1 spot to 12th. Joey Logano is 13th. Bubba Wallace still 14th. Van Gisbergen 15th. And Austin Cindric had a poor day down. Where'd he finish? I didn't go over him in the notables, but it was not a good run for him. Where was he? Where's the 2? Goodness gracious, 29th for the 2, yeah. So the problem is the guys on the bubble didn't really capitalize except Ross Chastain. So Ryan Preece 1 spot out of it. He is 29 points behind Austin Cindric. So Cindric is by no means safe. And Ross Chastain is, 47 points behind, but up 3 spots to 18th. So Chastain, haven't really talked about him over the last 8 to 10 weeks, but he's now in contention. Brad Keselowski 19th, Eric Jones down to 20th. I would say from Jones down, unless they go on a top 5 streak here and win Daytona. I think guys like McDowell, Allmendinger, well, they've had flashes. Time has run out. Gilliland, Smith, Herbst, Stenhouse, Dillon. Oh, Dillon's got Richmond coming up this week, and if he can win Richmond for the third season in a row, it'll probably vault him up to 23rd in points, but it's not going to be enough. So, some other things. Josh Berry put himself back in the top 30. Cole Custer down 3 spots. Connor Zilic, I think, doubled his point total this week. I'm just kidding, but he got stage points in 11th place finish. So Zilic finally getting something going, but still 34th in points for the rookie. My goodness. So there you go. That was Iowa. That's your points update. And last thing I want to check real quick before we get on out of here. Let me check the fantasy standings. I know, the last show, look, guys, it was a rough couple of weeks. Just so much going on. And I sat outside and did a different kind of show. And didn't really get to check in on fantasy. But let me take a look here at the Racing with Ryan podcast fantasy league. I know I'm not really in contention for the win of this thing, but hey, who is? Let's find out. And I apologize. My computer takes forever to load. So let's see. How do we do this week? It's loading. How do we do this week at Old Iowa? Who got the corn? Okay. Oh, good week for me. If I didn't put Larson in, I think I would have won. Cole Trickle Jr. got the win. That's old Joe Racine getting the win this week. I was second, but I was a ways back in second. And Bob's Forge was third, Big Willie fourth, Zach Dodge fifth. 8-Ball Racing, Lost Highway Sim Racing, 76 Motorsports, Op Trackhouse, and Staffordshire Motorsports are top 10. And let's check the overall standings here. Congratulations to Cole Trickle Jr. on the win this week. Just edging me out by a little bit. But Obbs Trackhouse is still our leader. But Bob's Forge is closing in. Obbs had a big lead a couple of weeks ago, and that lead now down to under 50 points. So Bob's Forge is making a run at it here. Cole Trickle Jr. up to third, 8-Ball Racing fourth. Fifth is Zach Dodge and Staffordshire Motorsports. Yours truly, RKS Racing, that's me. I'm seventh in points. 76 Motorsports, Bomber 93, and Richie Petty Jr. are our top 10 in the point standings. So as we go into Richmond, this is the week to use Austin Dillon. This is the week that everybody's been saving Austin Dillon for. So here's my, I did pretty good. I had Blaney, I had Logano, I had Byron, then I had Larson. I think I put Larson in last minute, and he keeps biting me. Larson's been biting a lot of people lately. If I didn't put Larson in, but I think I had Priest in, and I switched him out. So I think Priest did better than Larson, obviously, but it's kind of a moot point. And then Ty Gibbs, I had the winner. So not too bad. I had Austin Dillon on my bench. Obviously, that's going to change here this week. As we go into Richmond, you're going to want to play Hamlin. You're going to want to have Bell. You're going to want to have the Toyotas. Briscoe's probably a good look this week if you probably haven't used him up. Remember, you got 3 races to go. We have Richmond this weekend. We have New Hampshire and then Daytona to end the regular season. And then it resets. You can use everybody 5 times, I think, in the chase. So, if you've got guys that you can still use them up. So that's what you're going to want to do here as we head into Richmond. I know a lot of people are going to play Austin Dillon. Can he win it for the 3rd year in a row? He has been the master of Richmond. It'll be interesting to see. He could give us a new winner, or, the Toyotas could reestablish their dominance. We shall see. But hope to see everybody out at the new Smyrna Speedway this Saturday night for the Pro Late Model and E-Mod Heatwave 60s, plus Sportsman, Bomber A's, and 602 Modified. It's going to be a great night of racing as we roll into August. Hope everybody's had a good week. It's probably been busy for a lot of you with back to school. My daughter just started kindergarten. It's been a great start to the year for her. I'm very excited for her. She's enjoyed her first couple of days. She's actually taking a nap right now, so I could come back here and escape for a little bit and record. Felt good to be back here in the studio doing a show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll have plenty more to talk about on next week's edition. Thank you to our sponsors, Splish and Splash Swim Program, Paramount Medical Billing, F&F Racing, who will be in action this weekend of the Super Lates, or the Pro Lates, Doug Samian Racing, and of course, Ken Copley as well. Maybe this is the week Ken comes back for the 60-lapper. If not, Ken, we'll see you when we see you. Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you guys. Get out there, support your local short tracks. And with that said, talk to you next week and from Vroom on.